Hello everyone, I'm Giuseppe Gaiazzo from Silence and Other Sounds. In this video I would like to show you a demo track that I did for Cartago, Ancient Drums of the Future, our latest library in collaboration with Stefano Maccarelli. Probably you already had a chance to listen to this track, maybe on our product page of Cartago on our website, or maybe our SoundCloud page, and probably also in some other YouTube videos here as well. But in this case, I would like to go a little bit more in detail about how I structured this track, how I use Cartago to create the track plus other libraries, because I believe that does a very good service to the library and showcases the several genres and styles that you can cover by using Cartago. Let's listen. Well, the way I approached this track has been to subdivide it in three subparts, and you can read it here from this tree locator. At the beginning, military march; in the middle, tribal drums, and in the end, electronic drums part, because I wanted to showcase in a short time span, which is around 1 minute and something, the several styles and the compositional possibilities that you can have by using Cartago. And at the beginning, I wanted to open, let's say, this track by recreating this image of an ancient military, an ancient army that was marching towards the battlefield. Okay, this is the kind of picture that I wanted to recreate. And this feeling of marching is something that I've tried to recreate by using a triplets rhythm, which by itself, kind of, at least for me, it reminds, the feeling itself of walking all these guys together in this big, huge army somewhere in the past, walking together towards the battlefield. And I can play this part in solo, because as you can see in this group, Cartago Percussion, I group together all the, most of the acoustic percussions, which are all presets of the acoustic percussion sequencer, which is, by the way, one of the two instruments in Cartago. And everything they are going to hear is basically presets straight out of the box from Cartago. I didn't add any additional tweaking or whatsoever. It's the presets as they come straight out of the box, so to speak. And so, if I solo this part here in the beginning, you will notice especially these two layers here that recreate that kind of ancient military thing that I was describing. So let's solo this and let's listen. So as you can hear, it's a kind of heavy sounding drum sound. And usually there is a lot of layers. And this is one of the tricks, so to speak, the peculiarity when you are working with cinematic percussion. It always ends up, using different layers, different colors, so to speak, that combine together. Maybe it's different percussion that sit in different parts of the spectrum that are combined together and they create this, bigger than life kind of sound. And here, at least at the beginning, we have this preset that is called Elephant March. very big sounding drums with these kind of military sounding snares, which is again another preset of Cartago. Okay, with this, this sound and some rolls that I've programmed gave exactly the kind of feeling that I wanted. But these two acoustic percussions, let's say more natural sounding percussion, are coupled, or doubled at least, with more electronic drums that you can find in the other instruments of Cartago, which is the design drums kit, which is exactly based on more processed, punchy kind of drums. And it's this layer here when you can hear all this, It's a wide sort of sounds, it's both, very electronic, very distorted and aggressive kind of sounds with some designed acoustic percussion. So the thing is that, as I said, the whole concept of Cartago was to provide both the natural feeling of the acoustic percussions, but also the raw character or more processed sound. And you are going to need both, especially if you are a trailer music composer, sorry. Because, of course, the acoustic drums can give you the feelings, can help you to, let's say, recreate, at least in the case of Cartago, this ancient kind of aesthetic. But at the same time, you want these drums to punch hard. You want to smack, you want them to be heavy and punchy. And it's difficult to obtain that kind of very, punchy and smashing sound with just acoustic percussions. And so we decided to add also this module of more processed sound, which have more smack and more punch. And you can use them together and have best of both worlds. Also, the design drums kit is a very versatile instrument. You can select for any pad any of the audio available sound and load them to any pad and map any pad to any key. So it's very versatile. I mean, it's a very common scenario that you are just scrolling endlessly through browsers, through your folders in order to find that perfect kick sound. And we wanted to make this easier by giving the possibility to load directly in one of these pads, one of the available ones. Okay, let's move to the second part, which I call, as I say, the tribal drums part. And so well, as you can see here, I've transitioned from this more, ancient military kind of feeling to something that is more tribal, transitioning from the triplets to a straight rhythm. And I wanted to give the feeling of, of some actual percussionists and drummers that were doing a kind of a solo. Okay, this was the thing that I wanted to recreate. And I did that by manually playing these drums here, okay, Kilimanjaro drum skull, without any quantization. If I open here the MIDI part, if you pay attention, well, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that all these parts are not, perfectly quantized. They are a little bit loose. I just play them straight from my keyboard. Well, I actually had the temptation to quantize them because it's something inertial that you tend to do by default. But in this case, I wanted to give this the feeling of a true solo. Okay, so I didn't want to quantize things. I just played as they are, and this is the result that sounds very, very convincing to me. Let's listen just to this, Kilimanjaro drum skull, just with a reference beat in background, which should be, yeah, this one. Okay, now let's listen to the third and final part, which is the electronic drums part, when I wanted to highlight a little bit more the sounds in the design drums kit. And you can find both design drum kit layers from this group as from this other one. Sorry, let's listen to this. So these two layers leans a little bit more towards techno, you know, or dark industrial kind of thing, which however sits very well also with ancient percussion. So we have tried to summarize different words in Cartago that can be of any usage when you need percussion, which is basically anytime probably. And this is also the reason why we called it ancient drums on the future, because by combining, you know, all these drums that we have sampled, or this drum sample that we have created, we wanted to give a wide palette of sounds, but without being, you know, chaotic or inconsistent. It's a library that has its own identity, but at the same time that spans towards different things. Another thing that I would like to show you is these transitional effects. You know, these risers, and as you can see in this group, they are well. I didn't use the design drums kit MIDI Kontakt instruments, which is where these kind of sounds are featured among the other ones. But I just used the WAV sound, just drag and dropped to the onto the audio track in Ableton Live, in Cartago, the samples folder is open and accessible, and all the samples of the design drums kit can be also used externally, not necessarily in Kontakt or in the factory Kontakt instruments. And in particular for this kind of sounds, you know, transition, risers, I prefer to use the WAV sounds directly in the DAW. And this is because if I want to make sure that the rise, you know, peaks exactly on a given point, I can do that very easily visually, you know, by moving back and forth the waveform. This would be, you know, a little bit more difficult with an instrument like the design drums kit, which features a lot of sound but does not, you know, focus specifically on the timing of these effects. Okay, this way I can do it very easily. So let's have a listen. So personally, when it comes to this kind of effects, transition, rises, whooshes, reverses, whatever, I prefer to just see the waveform right there in the project. And if that's the way you work as well, you can do that with Cartago, because all the samples, not just the transition, also the design kicks, design snares, design percussion, everything that goes into design drums kit can be used also externally. So like I did in this case, or maybe loaded in a third-party sampler if you like. I mean, you have full flexibility about that. And let me show you also a few other sounds that you can hear in this demo, which are not from Cartago. As you can read here, the horns are from both Malaventum Pompeii as from Malaventum 1. Let's listen to them together by soloing these two groups. As I say, these are both from Malaventum Pompeii, which are these two right here. Well, I use the Kontakt instruments and then I've rendered in place the horns that I've designed. Malaventum Pompeii features and horns design, two horn designer instruments. So once that I found something that I like, I prefer to render it in place and have the waveform right there. And this charamella sounds, charamella is a southern Italian traditional instrument that is featured in Malaventum 1. You know, are the more piercing kind of sound that for this track I used to recreate a kind of a call to arms kind of sound. Okay, and then you have of course a lot of stuff from Omen, our shamanic voices library. I'll go pretty fast about this, and just to give you an idea about how I use it in a very simple way, just as a background basically. And finally, there is also some tagelarpa parts which come from Nordic folk strings, our library in collaboration with singer and tagelarpa expert Alessandra Cognetta. We've released it last year, and also in this case, once that I created my tagelarpa phrase, which is something that you can do with the library, by the way, I've rendered it in place. And so let's listen it together with just tagelarpa and drums. And last but not least, these kind of screamy effects that I wanted to use again at the beginning to recreate this angry ancient army. So a vision that I had for some reason when I did this track. I used some screams from our library Helen, which again has been created in collaboration with Alessandra. Again, in this case, I just used the WAV samples just straight to the DAW. So you just have a listen. Okay guys, hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like it, subscribe to our channel. We are going to post more and more videos about demos and demonstration about our libraries or sound design things that we do to develop our library. So if you want to stay updated, just subscribe to our channel. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Bye.